So today, I don't know why I look so terrible in this, but I've just been watching Alice Chatter. I don't know who this singer is. According to YouTube, why do I look so awful? According to YouTube, I have actually listened to some of her songs before. I remember the Spider one, but that's pretty much all I remember. I don't know, like she kind of gave off very sexual vibes, and I thought it was all a bit too sexual for me. So I think that would be the reason why I've never analysed her songs before. Um, but um, but yeah, I have a strong feeling that she might be the Superman guy. You know, when making the timeline, that's something that I would do. I would know exactly what's going to happen, how I'm going to be feeling, and it's going to be I would know all the films that are first made, and Superman, I guess, was one of the biggest films ever. So knowing that he would going to become paralyzed for 12 years, that's something I would have known. And it's when I first, because when I had no idea that he was paralyzed until probably 2013 or 2014. Like I didn't know. I never watched old movies really, and especially not black and white ones. I think his might have been the first color actually. I think his that was one of the first colored ones, but I don't know. I never really knew anything about him or watched. I never really liked Superman. The new is there a new Superman? I don't know. I never really. That was not my interest. I guess I prefer Wonder Woman or sort of female power figures. But yeah, bringing him back to life as a female is definitely something that I do, because I feel like he would be quite a good female. And this singer that I found, she's very sexual, yes, but it's all about body movements. Her whole thing is about body movements. And when I first sort of saw her, I saw that she looked very similar to that girl who I was talking. Why do I look so fucking awful? My skin looks different as well. My hair looks darker. I don't even know. Can we not look at myself? Look at this instead. But yeah, I guess I really like this song. I've got to talk about it. I really like this song, but I feel like yeah, I feel like there's just so much anger in it, and watching this song makes me feel paralyzed. That's another thing that I have to say. And I think when I was listening to the song, I kept seeing him, and I was thinking, is that who she was? And maybe, and then I heard Regina George has died. I still don't know, because it was just a random post that I saw this morning, so I haven't really looked into it. But I think she has, because I tried to find, like, typed in her name, and there was another thing. So I don't know if it's just a rumor at this stage, because I haven't actually done any research. It might just be a rumor, but I saw a post, and anyway, I can't think too properly today, actually. And yeah, I think I've been watching way too much TV in the last few days. It's frying my brain. And yeah, I don't really know what else to say. I mean, I guess at the beginning I would have thought that this might even be an insult to the girl called Angel. I think it's a very strange name to call your daughter Angel. It's a nice name, but it's an unusual name. No, people don't usually call each other Angel, and I don't know. But that story just really bothered me, not because I was against either party. I was just, I didn't want it to be one-sided. She, this paralyzed state that she was in was really something she caused on herself, but it was partly responsible. If he hadn't have forced her in the car, she wouldn't have felt such a strong need to jump out. And if, say, she would have jumped out just over an argument, he wouldn't have gone to prison at all, because that was her jumping out. It was because he forced her in the car, and that was the journey that caused that she chose to jump out of. It's because of that he's ended up in jail for 12 years. But yeah, it's a sad story, because it's a sad story on both cases. He is responsible, because the only reason why she was in the car is because he forced her in there, and on the other hand, he's not responsible, because he wasn't the one who opened the door, and he wasn't the one who made her jump out. She chose to do that of her choice. But it's a sad story, and then to find this this singer, at first I was thinking, do I really want to link this singer to her, because this is very over sexual and stuff, and it might even be an insult to people who, if you're paralyzed and can't do much, and then you just watch dancers just dancing around like they're fully able and fully capable and very flexible. I know that they'd be feeling how I'm feeling, because I feel paralyzed a lot of times. Not completely paralyzed. I haven't felt that way in about a year. Ow, my arm hurts. I haven't felt that way in a long time, but I feel mildly paralyzed a lot of the time, and it's annoying to feel so awful, and then just have people dance around so happily and joyful. But I do think that there's a very high chance that this girl was actually the guy from Superman. Okay, he died in 2004, and she was born in 2099, so 5 years earlier. Is that 5 years earlier? I don't know. I think she was born 5 years earlier, so there would have been a time loop. But my higher self can time loop, and this is something that she would do. This is something that I would set up. I don't believe in in forcing or encouraging people who are paralyzed to stay alive when you could just die and get a new body. If he would have died and not gone through that 12 years of being paralyzed, he would have still probably ended up in this same body. But there is good and bad in everything. Sometimes you go through awful things and you feel a lot better afterwards. And sometimes you don't recover, but you get a new body, and you become stronger in your next life because you're more able. That's what I was thinking when I first found out that he was paralyzed for 12 years. I didn't know until like 2013 or 2014, but I felt like the second him and the other guy, the one who was the scientist, I think both of them are going to be so happy when they get, a body that's working, that, dancing around in the way that this girl is dancing around, is something that they'd do. They'd be very, very joyful of, look at my body, I can move it. And I think that's such a good message, considering her her fake name is Angel of the Sluts. If I said that she's the Angel of the Sluts, there might be a ton of people that would want to insult her, criticize her, judge her, hate me for it or whatever. There's so many people in the Middle East who force others to cover up on the fact that showing skin is shameful or something like this. And I feel like for those countries, they need to be, said, there's nothing wrong with being a slut, and not slut shaming, but slut prouding, the opposite of slut shaming. Slut exaggerating or complimenting, slut complimenting. I think if people slut complimented in the Middle East, I think they'd be so much happier, because they would no longer feel like they need to be in prison under these horrible black cloths and tablecloths and just horrible outfits. And there's so much slut shaming that that a part of me wants to slut promote because of the imbalance in the world. But yeah, it's not good to have sex with lots of different people. So I think there is a part where she says something about no penetration on the dance floor. So it's talking about not actually having sex. Most people who are called a slut probably aren't a slut. They're just people being called this by other people. But I think if the catch was that actually she was paralyzed in a bed, unable to move for a long time, I just feel like anyone that would slut shame her for me calling her the Angel of the Slut, and them agreeing after looking at all her songs, I think they're just going to feel so bad afterwards for being like that. If you knew someone's been lying in a bed paralyzed for such a long time, and then to have them be insulted and mocked and called a slut when they are able to move their body in such a great way as she is. She's very flexible and very good at dancing and stuff, and it's kind of I think that would be a really good part of the story. Call her a slut for 3 years, and then afterwards, until Christmas Day, and when all the negative names reveal, and then you actually reveal that actually she's Angel of the Paralysed. Or I don't know how she would work, because I don't know, because I should both her names be revealed at the same time, like, because technically Slut is actually her negative name, Angel of the Sluts is actually her negative name, and Angel of the Paralysed is her positive name. But at the same time, I kind of want people to not see the truth, or maybe I don't know. But I think I'll handle her differently. I definitely need to tell her both the names at the same time. But how it gets exposed to the public, I don't know. I can say that she was that person, that Superman guy, and people might only insult her then if they don't believe this, and if they aren't able to believe this. But yeah, I don't know. I haven't really thought about it. I've only just started thinking about her now, and for some reason I just feel shattered. I feel so tired today. Yeah. And also, it's weird. My hamster has been walking around with a like a half paralyzed face or something, like it was drooping. But 2 days ago, his neck fixed itself. I don't know why, and now you can see the markings. You can see the markings here of where his head was pushing his fur in a certain direction. So you can see it. I'll show it to you next time I see it. But he's definitely not. He doesn't have a squint head any longer. So he might have had a stroke, and his half of his face might have dropped. But he or she seems to have actually fixed itself.